Our next guest is a queer poet and lifelong witness to the Chicago Renaissance. He is the founder of Reacting Out Loud, an independent organization devoted to uplifting poetry and affirming community in Muncie, Indiana. He is also a reader for Tinderbox Poetry Journal, and his work is published or forthcoming in Glass, a journal of poetry, Thread, The Broken Plate, and anthologies from Blue Shift Journal and Winter Tangerine. Please give a warm welcome to Levi Todd.
Good night.
Yeah, adjust as needed.
Yeah. Awesome. Hi, everybody. Yeah, shout out to our organizers who are like the most organized people. Organization and literary spaces do not necessarily. And so it's just been really cool having people who email me like the day of being like, here's how it's gonna go. I'm like, oh, awesome. Also, shout out that y'all asked me to do this reading this month, because if you asked me last month, I wouldn't be old enough to be in here. Cool. Okay, so I just want to do like a fun little thing to like open the space. So like think when you were 15, who was your celebrity crush? Just think about it for a little bit. If you can't remember, like just take a current celebrity crush or just your crush, I don't care. And on the count of 3, everybody just say the name, okay? So are we ready? Are we ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, Mark. I love that energy so much. Isn't that fun? Everybody just got shivers. They're like, ooh. Okay, yeah, so I've got poems for y'all. And I'm gonna grab my phone because I'm gonna have a timer. Great, so at the Museum of Contemporary Art on Tuesdays, it is free, and so I recommend that you go there because on the first floor they have this fantastic gallery celebrating the MCA's 50th anniversary, and there's a video piece of this documentarian who went to Brazil and documented these men who catch fish. And their custom is to hold the fish as they die, and it's the most tender thing I've ever seen. And because I'm a poet, I wrote about it. And just like for size, these fish are the size of immense torsos. Like they're massive, massive, wide fish. So this is called. It's after Jonathas de Andrade, and it's called When I Speak of Care. I don't mean refusing to harm or to hurt. This, unfortunately, is impossible. No. I mean the man who gathers a single fish, needing only one, from the net he's weighted on and does not reach for the machete. Rather, he tucks his thumbs under its tail and under its precious head, lifting this life to his bare chest. He caresses its scales the entire time it gasps to be put back in the water. He cries when this takes time. The saddest truth is that we cannot live like the pacifists we wish to be. If we must eat, we must eat. Even the men who gather the fish and hold them like their own children, knowing that perhaps these fish have fish children, or at the very least are some other fish's fish children. Of course, it's difficult to take care of the slippery things. We're slippery things too. Fish, human fish children. I think eventually I will let whatever must take me, if it only holds me to its chest throughout the gasping. Cool. So this piece, I'm just going to go into it. It's called Bedtime Rituals for the Men Who Taught Me Not to Trust Them. I don't know. These men have made their bed, and now it's time for me to tuck them into it. I coax down the tennis racket thrown at my head from its launch pattern. I peel the slur off my cheek and sew it into a pillowcase. I remove the hand from my crotch and place it beneath his cheek. I drink a gallon of green acrylic and paint the walls with my tongue. This hue is known to calm its viewers. I spread the blanket across their heaving chests, their legs pedaling out while they dream of some hunt. I take the floor. It's too late tonight to understand where I'd fit in the overcrowded bed. We'll sort it out in the morning. This isn't about forgiveness. This is about all of us needing to give it a rest. All right, so like shout out if you have seasonal affective disorder. This is for you. And also shout out if like summer also sucks. This This is one of those poems I wrote, and then I was reading a Ross Gay collection, and I realized like, oh, I didn't realize at the time that this poem is after Ross Gay, because it definitely is. Friends, I think this winter might just end after all. The groundhog and all his assuredness can get fucked. Just today, for example, the snow wished us best on its way coursing out the gutter. I know the sun has been so greedy with its time, but each day it is learning to share its light more generously. I cling to this, friends, because I feel most myself in spring, a budding thing. How everything smells impossibly sweet, a nectarine split open and dripping. The melted snow running away like a gleeful child. This is just the start. Soon, we'll all have the day's generous juices dribbling down our chins and into the river. Every night, the sun is getting braver and staying a minute more, arms open and offering us light from its picnic basket. I know we've all been curled into our dark dens, a latent instinct to survive. But friends, come outside. Spring is soon. Think of all the stunning ways you'll learn to bloom. Cool. So this is a poem that's coming from the literary magazine that my alma mater runs, which I'm very excited about. And I had a bike in Muncie. Living in Chicago for so long, I had 2 bikes stolen. And right before I moved to college, I decided I was going to wrap the bike in like neon colored duct tape. 1, to be visible at night, and 2, just to like detract thieves. And 3, because I'm queer. I liked how it looked, but the guys in my college town apparently don't know what the actual pride flag looks like, and kind of took it as like a gesture of like the pride flag, I think, because I got a lot of homophobic slurs just from people seeing the bike. And so this is a poem in response to it. And it uses a queerphobic slur, and the title just, you need to prepare yourself. Another boy man shouts faggot at me on my bike. And I'm like, who? Me? And I'm like, maybe. And I'm like, when I kissed that boy, I ran down the hall with permission, dribbling down my chin, then I woke up to do it again. And I'm like, and I do it again. And I'm like, wanna find out? And I'm like, I can feel the Arctic spooling from your lungs, and I don't want you getting pneumonia. And I'm like, I wanna house that word in this poem to describe bundles of sticks. Take back the authentic definition and preach strength in numbers. And I'm like, but all it means now is the absence of people between your car and me. You've claimed it already. And I'm like, so I'll let you keep it. And I'm like, it's not your fault you open your throat and wasps come out. And I'm like, there's a wasp's nest in our community garden that no one knows how to move safely, so we haven't yet, so I get it. And I'm like, I've seen your face before. And I'm like, it's moonless tonight, and you've had a few drinks. And I'm like, I've been in moonless places before with men, thirsty for something they can break open and nurse from. And I'm like, and apparently you were a man too. And I'm like, your mouths are echo chambers of the same God-fearing hymn. And I'm like, I'll bet one day your daddy put you down and you were never held again. And I'm like, maybe I look untethered on my bike, inhibition a suit coat that does not fit. And I'm like, I'm staying in my lane, but I'll cross over if you need me to. And I'm like, shed the sandpaper. And I'm like, ditch this grit. And I'm like, just watch the road. And I'm like, before you wreck us both, honey. Yeah, so I mean, something I've been trying to grapple with in my work is how to, I get so irrationally angry that like gender is a thing we invented and has no existence, and it's something we created, and then we let it like limit and define so much of our lives, and how absolutely like it doesn't exist, y'all. Like gender's not real. And so with that, I've been trying to think, you know, if we try to get past that, is masculinity something worth preserving, or do we burn it to the ground? And so this is a poem where masculinity burns to the ground, but like, with water instead, because I'm a Pisces. It's called Open Letter to My Brothers. All I'm saying is that if the boat were sinking, I would save you, but not the boat. All I'm saying is I'm never sure you would save me. The boat and its timber are so fragile, it's a miracle the thing floats at all. Held together only by force and habit, you all biting the boards shut with your bare teeth, so scared of shipwreck. Brothers, brothers. I know you all burned the lifeboats to prove a point, But did you know our bodies were meant to float? Consider for a moment, please. We let the boat sink. Think of the possibilities. We retire as pirates. Imagine the wonderful raft our bodies would make if we just held each other closer. Perhaps if we float out at sea for long enough, shipwrecked, perhaps the water would dry up, all of it, revealing our many, many beloved siblings who have been waiting beneath the ship's hull this whole time. It's a poem that like just makes me smile. I take the Greyhound a lot because I don't have a car, and I would go back and forth between my college town and Chicago. And there was this boy on a bus trip who just kept like playing peekaboo with me the entire time. And I also love how like the reason we know gender's not real is because kids don't get it, and they say what we think is politically incorrect a lot. Like they will like misgender people, or they will kind of like say like, "Mommy, like why is that man wearing a dress?" And it's like you want to get mad at them, but it also proves like they don't get gender. And so shout out to kids. Yeah, it's called Reflection. A boy in the seat ahead of you turns around and says, "He's Spider-Man, so who are you?" You answer, but not the way he wants you to. He has the energy of a steam engine compressed into the body he's been given, keeps struggling to fit in the crack between the window and the seat. He can't make it fully to you and vice versa. All you can see of this boy is his curls catching the AC's measly wind, a single eye peering at you in the window's reflection, his pudgy, small hands reaching out for yours. He reaches to touch your nails, delicately, as though the blue paint might be wet, and he might soak up some of it if he's gentle. His mother reprimands him, says, "Don't bother that boy." Spider-Man responds, "No, that's a girl." She corrects him, says, "No, that is a boy. Actually, that's a young man." You want to know the difference and how she knows it, or where the boy is headed, or who crowned him Spider-Man anyway. But their stop arrives, and that's that. The mother lifts her boy up, and you finally see his full beaming face. He turns to you, asks, "Are you coming with us?" Cool. I'm gonna read one last poem. Yeah, my favorite thing to do is get stoned and then watch videos of like the universe and space. As apparently some of you do too. And so this is a poem about that, but also like other stuff. Self-portrait in Hall of Mirrors. If the theoretical physicists, those secret poets, are onto something, then what is true is that there exist infinite universes where everything that can happen is happening. If this is true, then there exist infinite everyones, each a more slightly glitched copy of the last. In one universe, floating on its interstellar bubble, I am dropping a yellow sundress from its rigid hanger. I am wrapping it around my skin the way I wrap gifts. In this another universe that carries my another me, she sees a treasured friend and pulls her close to say hello, the both of them glinting brilliantly in another sun's another eye. Imagine another intimacy, another ginkgo tree, another everything. If the secret poets are onto something, we are constantly bumping into other universe bubbles, but never popping or merging. Sometimes the secret poets are wrong. I reach my hand through the oily glimmer window and pull the next bubble close. It never pops because I'm gentle. When I get near enough, I can see right in, and like a body into a sundress, I slip through and into. Thanks, y'all.